Good morning and welcome to the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 FM, where we present live weekly performances in the WDNA Jazz Gallery and feature students, faculty, and alumni from Florida International University's Herbert and Nicole Wertheim School of Music and the Performing Arts. I'm your host today and FIU faculty Dr. Russ Spiegel, and along with our producer Dr. Karen Velas, we'd like to welcome you to our show. Whether you're listening to us at home, in your car, or live on WDNA.org/FIU, we are delighted to have you with us. And today we have a very special performance. We are pleased to feature the FIU Studio Big Band under the leadership of FIU Professor Omar Latif. The FIU Studio Jazz Big Band is one of the most visible artistic groups at FIU. With major performances annually, both as a featured group and with world-renowned guest artists, the band has been internationally recognized as one of the premier college jazz ensembles in the nation. The members of the FIU Big Band are full-time graduate and undergraduate students, many of whom are currently working professionals with local, national, and international artists. A number of the featured soloists are past and present scholarship recipients from Downbeat, the National Foundation for the Advancement in the Arts, the Gold Coast Jazz Society, and the International Trumpet Guild, and they are going to be starting off with Shiny Stockings. I'm here speaking with Omar Latif, our new professor for jazz big band as well as trumpet and I believe brass choir. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you and the band here today.
Thank you for having us. It's very, very, very wonderful to be here.
Okay. What was the last tune we heard there?
The last tune you heard was a tune by Herbie Hancock. It was called A Tribute to Someone. It was actually off of his album, which has the same title. It was more of a tribute to Donald Byrd.
Fantastic. And who are the soloists we heard?
Well, you heard from Brian Lopez on trumpet, who just played A Tribute to Someone, standing up in the front. And then, of course, you heard from Tariq Baker on piano, and you also heard from Michael Mackey on the trumpet as well.
Wonderful. So I have a few questions for you. You are new to Miami, and why don't you tell us a little bit about this group?
Well, a few things about the group. They're a resilient group, actually. They came in, and I feel that this is important for me to do based off of the students who are here. They embraced me after a tragic loss of Jim Hacker. God bless his soul. He was a real pillar of strength within this community. And when they asked me to come in, I understood what the role and the responsibility was. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't necessarily take away from his legacy, but of course, just continue to pay it forward the way he would have. I only met him one time. And the students have embraced the cause. And, we've had some good moments, and they've told me plenty of stories. So, nothing has changed with respect to the way things are run. We still meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:30, and we still have performance and education majors, and we have a methodical way of how we approach it. They understand the history of the music that we're doing. That's something that we learn as we go. But I did feel that it was important to give that part of the backstory because it has made this group what it is, and they sound beautiful.
Fantastic. How do you go about choosing songs and arrangements? Do you come in with a plan, what you want to teach them?
Well, I think everyone needs to understand the historical significance of all the works that we do. The real staples of the big band era were Count Basie and Duke Ellington, and that was our initial plan. Sometimes FIU will throw, a wrench at you, which happens not just here, but at any professional venue, you will get wrenches thrown at you. So we did end up having a guest artist by the name of Alex Norris, who we did a concert with on October 27th. Was it 1 or 2 Fridays ago? Anyway, it was October 27th for the music festival. And so, of course, we had to cram in some extra music. I wanted to teach them how to swing. But, again, with respect to the resilience we just spoke about, they learned how to do a bossa nova fairly quickly.
Wonderful.
Which was really great.
Speaking of which, what would be maybe 1 or 2 of the most important things you hope students learn by playing in this band?
Well, one thing that they have, I've been preaching to them is the importance of what I believe is my whole teaching philosophy, and that is just dependability. I've been on the students about that, and they've responded to that in very, very favorable terms. Sometimes, we've had a few back and forth, but that's just because, as a professional, as you know, it is our number one most valuable asset as a musician. So that's one major thing. And, of course, understanding their roles in the ensembles. That's been a big thing. Doesn't matter how small or how large your group is. That's critical, and that actually elevates your professionalism. So those are the 2 things.
Right. You don't want to hear what Miles Davis said to one musician a while back. Hey, Miles, that was great. When was the last time we played together? Tonight.
That's right.
Yep. All right. What are we going to hear for the next tune?
Well, the next tune that we have planned is The Mooch. I do have some extras that do like to come into the ensemble. So we'll invite one of the extras. Her name is Melanie, on clarinet. And this song actually is a clarinet feature done by the great Duke Ellington, also in collaboration with Irving Mills in 1928. If you listen to the recording of it, there is that's kind of where you started to hear some of the birthing of the scat with Baby Cox, and of course the plunger with Bubba Miley. It became one of his signature pieces, actually.
Absolutely.
It's very well known.
Yeah, beautiful piece.
Yes.
All right, so Professor Omar Latif with the FIU Studio Big Band, and we're going to now hear the Mooch.
We're going to hear the Mooch. All right.
Thank you.
You're listening to the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 FM with the FIU Studio Big Band under the leadership of FIU Professor Omar Latif. We'll be right back after these messages. The FIU School of Music will be hosting the following concerts. Tonight, November 7th, 7:30 p.m. in the Wertheim Performing Arts Center Concert Hall, FIU String and Piano Chamber Ensembles concert. This performance is comprised of smaller chamber groups who are coached by FIU artists in residence and performing music faculty. Students showcase masterpieces from the chamber music repertoire from the 18th through the 21st centuries. Programming includes arrangements for string quartets, duos, trios, and soloists. On Wednesday, November 8th at 6:30 p.m., also in the Wertheim Performing Arts Center Concert Hall, the FIU Saxophone Quartet. The Florida International University Saxophone Quartet strives to provide its audiences with meaningful musical experiences and exciting programs featuring standard repertoire for the standard saxophone quartet, as well as transcriptions. This group is coached by faculty member Noah Brisson. Also on Wednesday at 8 p.m. at the Wolfsonian, Notice Ensemble, works for violin, clarinet, and cello based on an interpretation of Harry Clark's Geneva Window on display at the Wolfsonian, featuring violinist Misha Wittenson, clarinetist Kelsey Gallagher, and cellist Jason Calloway, with music by Julius Eastman, Orlando Jacinto Garcia, Marcus Balter, and Aurelio de la Vega. And especially on Thursday, we are going to be featuring the FIU Studio Big Band. That is going to be at 7:30 p.m. at the Wertheim Performing Arts Center Concert Hall. And the FIU Big Band, under the direction of Professor Omar Latif, will present an evening of jazz from Count Basie and Duke Ellington. For these and many more exciting events, you can find information at the fiu.universitytickets.com. And now, back to our show with the FIU Studio Big Band under the leadership of Omar Latif. right. Harlem Airshaft, FIU Studio Big Band, Omar Latif. And Omar, I have some more questions for you. All right. Why don't you share with us a little bit about your background and how you came to become a professional musician?
All right. Well, in most cases I will work backwards. In this case, I'll work forward.
Okay.
Still is a very, very influential man in my life. I spoke to him a few days ago, actually. Mr. Willie J. McAllister from Detroit, Michigan. He eventually became the director of fine arts through Detroit Public Schools. He's now retired. But he and Mr. Pruitt, God bless his soul, were instrumental in my early starts. They got me involved with many organizations like the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. I studied at one point with the fourth trumpet. He's actually still fourth trumpet there, Bill Lucas. One of the professors at University of Michigan. I believe he's retiring soon. There was, of course, the Detroit Civic Jazz Orchestra, which was under the direction of Marcus Belgrave. I don't know. Did you know Marcus Belgrave?
I know who he is.
Yeah. You know, he, God bless him, so he passed some time a while too. But he was very influential in getting me involved in the jazz scene. Then, you know, after that, that got me to the Juilliard School, which is where I studied with Philip Smith from the New York Philharmonic. He's now retired from that orchestra. And from the jazz roots, I did study with Wynton Marsalis. He was very instrumental in getting me to understand how jazz worked. He didn't interfere with the way Mr. Smith taught, but the great Marsalis obviously helped give me some knowledge from the genre of music that he learned from Art Blakey, and of course he at one point was working with Miles Davis's dad. Ellis Marsalis, of course, was also influential in his life too. So that's kind of where my story got me to from an educational standpoint. And on a professional level, I had a band that we toured with for about 12, 13 years on an international standpoint. So we did that. That's how I really learned how to play.
Which band was that?
Well, I was actually one of the music operational supervisors for Carnival Cruise Line.
Oh, okay.
And we, you know, we had a pool of musicians that we worked with. I would call their names, but you know, I don't want to, you know, have any conflicts of interest or things like that. But
okay.
we traveled for a good 7-8 years together, and put on a lot of shows, and a lot of them were big band or show band related. And of course, you know, as time went on, we had to evolve with the top 40 band. So that became our that's the way that the industry is starting to emerge. So we had to go in that direction.
Sure.
You know, but obviously, you know, I wanted to continue with what we're doing now with jazz, which brought me here to this school. So,
right. And how are you settling it at FIU now?
Well, Vicky's has helped me settle in quite a bit. Vicky's coffee is great. I love it. You know, Vicky's has helped me settle.
And you've learned probably some new words like a cortadito.
Yeah, exactly.
Cortado.
I've had many coffee con leche. I've had many of those. But of course, the students, the New Deco Ensemble, which is another group that I do perform with professionally, they've embraced me as well. And they've been doing some things in collaboration with FIU. Of course, the staff and the students, that's a no-brainer. And I really do. I've enjoyed being here.
Fantastic. I have two things I wanted to say. But first of all, maybe we'll do this one first. What advice would you have for an up-and-coming musician?
All right. Many. I will go back to the reliability. That's our, you know, most valuable asset as a musician. That I have to say that. So that's number one. But it's good to have marketability.
And meaning, what does that mean?
And what I mean is, the more styles of music that you can involve yourself with or learn, the better it is. I actually studied at Juilliard as a classical musician. And that has helped me because even here in Miami, I've been asked already to play some classical performances, which I'm glad that I'm able to do that. Had I not studied that, or had I not taken advantage or learned from some of my mentors, I would not have been able to, maybe perform in those settings. So,
Right.
I also did. This is just me. I know that's good for this area. I performed in a salsa band for 3 years. That really helped me with respect to lead playing. Primarily, I'm a lead player, but that helped me not just here, but that helped sharpen my skills in the big band as well. But just getting as many skill sets as you can will help with respect to being a more marketable musician. So I think that's very, very, very. It helps, and the less you limit yourself as a musician, the better.
Right. And also, hearing your name said from time to time probably wouldn't be a bad thing to hear as well.
Obviously.
Do you want to introduce the band?
All right. We'll go through and introduce some of the band members. We have Wilson on the baritone sax. We have Mariel on tenor. We have Josh on alto. He's leading the section. We have Juan also playing alto. We have Isaac, who's playing tenor. And we also have Melanie, who is an extra. Who's an extra within the sax section. She did play clarinet on the mooch. We have, of course, Brendan on trombone. We have Clarice leading the section on trombone. And I admittedly am a little nervous. I am drawing a blank on the last two names, and I've called your names before on so many occasions. Please shout your names out. Jason, I know your name. I'm sorry. And Marcos. I'm sorry. I failed in that regard.
That's a lot of names to learn.
And I've called their names in class. It's just it's different. It's different when you're in front of a camera. We have Justin on trumpet. We have Jeriel on trumpet. We have Giancarlo on trumpet. We have Michael and Brian on trumpet, and also Gabriel, who splits the lead on trumpet. All fantastic musicians. The names I've called. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to mess with the rhythm section. They're great too. I was purposely looking at Jake, who's our guitarist. He's a great guitar player, but I wanted to see his face when I made the comment. Yeah, Jake is wonderful. Tariq on piano. We have Eric on bass, and we have Gabriel on drums as well.
And what are we going to hear next?
All right. Next, we just got finished doing Harlem Air Shaft, so it's time to perform Satin Doll.
All right.
It's time to perform Satin Doll.
Satin Doll.
Yes, I like this arrangement because obviously the Ellington Band and the Basie Band were separate entities, but they did collaborate together and use some of their works. And this Satin Doll arrangement done by Sammy Nestico was one of the members of the Count Basie Orchestra. So this is Basie's rendition of the Ellington work.
Fantastic. Satin Doll, Omar Lateef, and the FIU Studio Big Band. Listening to the FIU Studio Big Band under the leadership of FIU Professor Omar Latif on the FIU Music Hour on WDNA 88.9 FM. I've been your faculty host, Russ Spiegel, and along with our producer, Karen Velaz, we'd like to thank our production crew, FIU grad students Ruben and Anna, FIU Technical Director, Paul Steinsland, WDNA Sound and Tech Wizard, Alex Aldrich, Danny, and the staff of WDNA 88.9 FM for today's broadcast. If you would like more information on all our programs, make sure to call 305-348-2896 or like our Facebook and or Instagram page to stay up to date with all our upcoming performances. Thanks again to our guests, and we are going to hear it for the last tune, Holiday Blues.